Hey guys, and welcome to today's first impressions video. Today we're looking at CrimeSight, which is a Cluedo type RTS where you play as either Moriarty or Sherlock and you have to either cause or prevent a crime. It's a really interesting concept with some really nice ideas and breathtaking anime style graphics. It's not perfect, however, and there are a few things that I've got issue with. So, as always, we'll look through the settings first, and then we'll jump into the gameplay and I'll give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. It is also worth noting that this is a PvP only mode, and luckily there are people actually playing the game. However, it being PvP only does present its own problems as well. So let's jump into those options and see what we've got available. Alright, options. Actually very disappointed with the amount of graphical options that this game doesn't have. It's actually a really pretty game with some really nice 3D effects and lighting and shadows, and it would be nice if you had the opportunity to actually customize those to your heart's content and actually make it run on more systems as a result. Now what I will say is this game has run pretty much seamlessly for me, but I have a fairly high-end system. Other people might not be so lucky. The fact that all you get is high, medium and low as a quality setting is a bit disappointing. There's no FPS settings, there's no borderless full screen, it's just full screen or windowed. They could really do a lot here to improve this menu. Your game settings, I'm actually very impressed with these. There's not a lot, but what they have is very important for a game like this. You've got your basic rules on the heads-up display, on or off, subtitles settings and your camera tracking settings. Really happy with these. Again, they could probably add a few more in, maybe a colorblind mode for different areas, since colors do play a big part of this game, to be able to tell whether you are tracking a murderer or a victim. Your sound settings are very good as well. You've got the master, which is on full, but then your music, sound effects and ambience are all set to around 7 by default, and then they've got a really nice option to have the sound on if you alt tab out the game as well, which for me personally I really like. Communication settings, so you've got stamps and stuff that you can put in the game. There is a problem with this in that people, when you play against them, tend to spam the emotes, and it gets really annoying. Even if you switch it so that they can't see you, you can still see them, and I can't see a way of switching it off. It's a bit of a shame. It is a bit of a shame, because it'd be nice if I had a bit more control over that, and it can, like I say, get rather annoying, rather obnoxious very quickly when you're trying to either watch or read or whatever, and you've just got little icons showing up all over the screen. Then your language settings. They don't have a huge amount here, but it's nice that they've got some. And again, this is a very Japanese, Chinese sort of heavy game. It reminds me a lot, the starting menu and stuff, of Genshin Impact actually. It's a very similar sort of setup to that. So there's your options. Let's jump into the game and see what I think, shall we? Okay, so when you select play from the menu, you will be given these options. You can create a room, you can go through and select certain rooms from a list, you can search by player ID, you can go through the tutorial at any time. I don't know why this notification is up here. It'd be nice if once you've played the tutorial that disappears, and then you can go quick match. And then once you click quick match, you are again presented with options. Again, this is PvP only. The only time that you ever get to play against the AI is when you go tutorial, and you don't actually get to play, it just walks you through, which is a bit of a shame. And it would be nice if they added a PvE mode where you could just play a few select levels and it grows in difficulty. There's a market for that, and it would allow you to really learn how the fundamentals of the game work. However, you've got a 3v1, a 2v2, a 2v1 and a 1v1. The other problem with this is that it is, with the 1v1, it switches on the communications between you and the other player, which means they can see everything you're doing. That's an issue. That's a big issue, because it means the game is going to end, if you are Sherlock, very quickly. So we're going to go in 1v1, and I'm going to show you how the game basically works. What I will say is that there are a lot of people playing this already. It doesn't take very long to find a game, which is really good. It shows you here about all of the people that you're with, and you know, all the information about the two of you. The starting graphic is really nice as well. Although I will say it would be nice if there was a skip button for this where you could just load in, because it does take in quite a lot of time. So we're going with Moriarty this time. You've got a certain amount of time to try and kill the opposition if you play as Moriarty, and you've got a certain amount of time, the same amount of time, to save the victim if you are Sherlock. The basic idea, and this is why I say it's sort of like an RTS, is that you've got to command these units, these pawns, make them find certain items, namely food or a weapon, and then you've basically got to take your character and get them in the same area as the assassin victim to get them dead and or to save them. It is a very long and very complicated game. There is a lot to take in, there's a lot of information that you've got to process, but it works really well. I really, really like it. I am just fucking awful at it. It's one of those games that's got a very steep learning curve. I love the graphics, I love the text, I love the animation at the end. I really like the style. I like the fact that it shows you all the points of interest, each of the doors, the characters you've got to mess with. So we're going to move you here. We're going to move you to point of interest. I'm going to search, and then we're going to commit command. So the main differences between two: Sherlock gets 3 moves per go, whereas Moriarty only gets 2. Switch it off there. On top of which, you have basically a way of getting a last go in, a last hurrah, if you like, as Moriarty to try and secure that win, to secure the kill. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to work through and work around, and you've got a lot of information being fed to you about who is going to be the killer, who isn't going to be the killer, who's got the most chance. Certain pawns or NPCs have more chance of listening to Moriarty than they do Sherlock, and vice versa. If you play in multi-games, when you've got more people down here, you've got more people that are going to try and collude with you and try and sort of work with you and work against you, and there's a lot going on. Like I say, the game is very, very confusing, but very, very good. I love the way that it works out. I love the way that they try and figure out who's who. Like, it's a modern day Cluedo, and I really, really like it. I just think that there's a few things that could be done better. One, the tutorial could be a little less text and a little more doing. Some people learn by doing and playing, others people learn by just being told what to do. I myself have a very bad memory and often can't remember what it is that I'm trying to, you know, the game mechanics as a whole. The other thing is the communication. The communication between the two players. If you're on a 1v1, communication so that they can see what you're doing should be off by default. It's not fair on the players for it to be on by default, and it kind of ruins the game. The game that I played with Sherlock, I forgot to switch it off, and the game was over in 2 moves because he literally saw everything that I tried to do and just moved around as he saw fit. But there you go, guys. This is CrimeSight. It's a really interesting Cluedo type game. Lots to take in. If you like your puzzles and if you like playing strategy against other people like a game of chess, but in an RTS format, this is going to be the game for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.